The main difference between a narcissistic discard and an avoidant discard is intent. But first, let's clear up what a discard is. A discard is not a normal breakup. It is not a normal breakup at all. A discard is a unilateral, blindsiding breakup where the person that is being discarded did not see it coming and they were not given a voice or a say in the matter. It is completely unilateral, and the person being discarded is usually given little to no closure, no explanation as to why the relationship is ending, and there is generally a complete lack of empathy shown by the person that's doing the discard. The person that's getting discarded feels like they're being thrown out like a piece of trash without any explanation whatsoever. It is abrupt and they are just shattered and picking up the pieces. There was no warning, no conversation, no opportunity to fix the relationship prior to the discard. Now, narcissists, they are out for one thing and one thing only in a relationship. That is narcissistic supply. Narcissistic supply is the attention, affirmation, validation, adoration, and power and control that a narcissist feels entitled to. Early in the relationship, they are eating up that supply from you in the honeymoon phase. That's the love bombing phase with a narcissist. You are the shiny new toy. You're making them feel good because it's all fresh supply coming in. Over the course of the relationship, the narcissist begins to grow quite bored of your supply, and they want a new source of supply because it's never enough for them. They line up a new source of supply, and then they cut you loose because they've already got a new source of supply secured. Now, that is why narcissists will discard you. They are bored with you, they're done with you, they don't care about you, they never really did, and now you're of no use to them. So you're gone. An avoidant, they discard a partner because of fear. Avoidants fear very specific things. They fear emotional intimacy. That's because they fear that emotional intimacy leads to abandonment. It leads to them being rejected and abandoned. They fear rejection, and they also fear engulfment. Engulfment is losing themselves in a relationship to a partner who's ultimately going to abandon and reject them. So when an avoidant has their fears triggered, well, they deactivate. This is how they've learned to protect themselves going back to childhood. They take their emotions, they bury them. They don't allow themselves to feel their own emotions for their partner anymore. This is a maladaptive way of self-preservation. The avoidant is trying to protect their heart by keeping you out. And chances are emotional intimacy was building in the relationship, which is what triggered their fears, because the avoidant at their core feels like they are an unlovable person. And if you get behind the castle wall that they built around their heart, you are going to figure out that they are unlovable. You're going to reject and abandon them. It's inevitable. So it's safer for them to do the abandoning than to risk being abandoned themselves. When their fears are triggered, it's like every neuron in their brain and their entire nervous system is on fire. And the only way that they know to find relief is to run away from the situation, avoid the emotions, distract themselves, not go there, and stick their head in the sand, and especially avoid self-reflection. That's something that narcissists don't do either. They don't self-reflect, but for different reasons. So an avoidant will discard out of fear because the relationship is going well. The relationship going well is the trigger of avoidant fears. There is another reason why avoidants can discard as well. That's because the avoidant may have not been getting their needs or wants met in the relationship. But because they fear rejection, they don't communicate this to their partner. So they have a want or need that is being unmet, but the partner never knows because the avoidant never told them. Over the course of time, as their needs are not being met, the avoidant starts to resent their partner. And this can lead to an abrupt discard. The discard does not feel abrupt to the avoidant in this case because there's been building resentment over time. But it is very abrupt to the person that's being discarded because they were never given a warning. And just like narcissists, avoidants can show a complete lack of empathy when they're doing the discard. They share this in common. The narcissist, well, they will be very, very cold. They will be very disconnected. There will almost be like this dead look in their eyes as they're discarding a partner. Avoidance can do the same thing. That's because the avoidant has taken their feelings for their partner and buried them. They've stuffed them. They're not allowing themselves to feel any of these emotions, which means they're also not allowing themselves to feel empathy in the moment. They're completely deactivated, completely disconnected from their emotions. That's how they've learned to keep themselves safe. So the end result is a discard. You're being thrown out in the trash like you never even mattered. Your heart is shattered. You are completely devastated. You're blindsided and given no say in the relationship ending. The intent, however, is very, very different. A narcissist can actually get supply from seeing you in pain, because that means that they have power and control over you, that they are relevant, and they can enjoy watching your anguish. The avoidant, however, they generally do not mean to hurt you and don't want to hurt you, but they're not exactly going out of their way to not hurt you either. The avoidant is only thinking of themselves and what their own perceived wants, needs, and fears are in the moment. They're not considering the impact that it has on their partner when they discard them, but they're not doing it for the purposes of watching you in pain. And seeing you in pain doesn't make them happy. So there is a very, very different intent. But at the end of the day, if you've been discarded, it is a very, very painful experience. Healthy people do not discard partners. People that are emotionally healthy, that are not selfish people, do not discard. Yes, breakups have to happen sometimes. Sometimes people are incompatible and there are various different reasons why a relationship may need to end. However, a discard is not a healthy way to do it. It is a very cold, very, very selfish way to end a relationship, and it causes the other person an unnecessarily enormous amount of pain that was not warranted. So if you've been discarded, recognize that is a reflection of the person who discarded you. It is not a reflection of you, because healthy people, emotionally healthy people, they don't discard. That's just not what they do.